You're Jimmy Gang. Jimmy Gang, the Army, the Navy, the Unstoppable. Welcome back to another video with your guy, man. Listen, today we getting into the full K-Flock story. The full joint, man. Free K-Flock, he locked up right now, man. You know, I'm recording this video out of the Bronx, man. I know how I give it up, man. We gonna have to get into the full story. I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. I'm not gonna act like I don't know certain things. We're gonna get into it for real, you heard? Let's watch the full breakdown and I'm gonna let y'all know what I know and we're gonna follow along and fill in the blanks of this video. Let's go!
432 days have passed since K-Flock surrendered himself to detectives for a murder that happened on December 16, 2021. While walking with his sister and her friend down 151st in Amsterdam, he crossed paths with another gang member who spotted him from inside of a barbershop.
K-Flock was walking the op block with his sister in another little thot. And guess what happened? A op tried to pop, but before he could do that, K-Flock whipped out the whop and whop. Yeah.
Words were exchanged, and just moments later, the man who was identified as Oscar Hernandez died
Waska
to the neck and chest. After 911 calls came pouring in, investigators quickly identified K-Flock in his $4,000 outfit as the main suspect.
K-Flock in his $4,000 outfit. My son was drippy. Drippy, nigga, goddamn drippy while he caught a body, goddamn.
They then issued a warrant for his arrest on first-degree murder charges on December 23rd, and without question, he self-admitted. He was only 18 years old at the time. 3 days later, his lawyer would release a statement claiming the shooting was done in self-defense.
Somebody walked out to confront him. It's all on video. When the guy hits the ground, he's got a loaded gun that was in his pocket that his hand was on.
Tried to whop.
Consider that to be self-defense.
The surveillance footage that was released seemed to strongly back this up, seeing that he was the one who was approached and then threatened. Although his court date would continuously be delayed the entire 2022 year, it was likely he was going to beat the case and be released within a matter of time.
I don't know about that.
Other plans, and they want anything but to see K-Flock back on the streets of the Bronx. On February 23rd, 2023, the federal government stormed in and added a 15-page indictment on K-Flock and 7 others, now being labeled the leader of an organized crime syndicate. The New York federal court is demanding that the 19-year-old rapper serve a minimum of life in prison or a maximum of the death penalty.
Sheesh. You know it's real when they start talking about putting you on that row. You know it's real when they talking about putting you on that row. No cap.
A suspect wanted in a deadly shooting in Harlem. The incident took place yesterday morning.
Listen, man, if you're new around here, like the video right now. Like the video right now. Subscribe to the channel if you new, gang. Subscribe right now, man.
Before he was ever known as K-Flock, he was just Kevin Perez, born April 20th, 2003 in the Bronx, New York. Although the Bronx is the birthplace of hip-hop music.
Shout out to the Bronx, man. Shout out to 50 years of hip-hop, man. Remember where this hip-hop thing started, man? The Bronx. Right here from where I'm recording this from, you heard? Patterson Projects, gang.
40% of the borough lives below the poverty line, making it a hub for crime and gang activity. Unfortunately, he was no exception to that growing up in this environment. His mom says he tried to play sports, boxing, and was also into fashion, but she never expected him to become a rapper.
He wanted to actually do clothing design and stuff like that. I had him in boxing because that's what we do. Things like that, but nothing of music, ever.
School never interested him either. He already had an early mindset of getting out on the streets, and he did so with the hustle of someone twice his age. At just 10 years old, he had already been outside hanging on the block. K-Flock took note of what other rappers were doing at the time in Chicago, because while he was growing up in the Bronx, the Chicago drill scene was starting to take over. Although young, in his mind, he was old enough to start hustling and meeting new people in the neighborhood. Even though K-Flock was good at making enemies, he was even better at making friends. Aaron Howard, or Dougie B, is actually his blood cousin, but the two grew up like good friends. Then there was Quayshawn, or B-Love as we know him. He was the oldest and had a lot of influence over them, including being the first one to pick up rapping. And lastly, there was also Jalen, known as PMVJ, who at one point was their friend. Needless to say, B-Love had already been in the streets and he had some connections and was already making a name for himself. To them, the streets were too much fun. This was their mindset at a young age. Being young and not fully understanding the lifestyle that came with it, losing family and friends was part of growing up in the Bronx. Being from
No cap. Literally part of growing up in the Bronx. This is literally like, come on, bro. You know how it go, man. Damn near little Iraq, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know they call Chicago Chirac. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Before we knew about Chicago being called Chirac, way before Chicago drill, they was calling Patterson Iraq. No cap. Little Iraq.
187th Street, K-Flock repped a gang called Sevside and DOA. And like any set, they were at war with a few others. Sometimes they even referred to themselves as EBK, or Everybody Killers.
How EBK? Because anybody could get shot.
So you can imagine they had a lot of enemies, with the YGs and OGs being the main ops of Sevside. As I mentioned,
Shout out to the G's.
B-Love was the first one to start recording music. But he didn't like the way his songs were coming out, so he ended up giving it up for a while and never released the songs. Meanwhile, PMVJ would actually be the first one to find some success with songs like OMBK. Seeing that PMVJ could get views like that only made them realize they could do it as well, seeing they all come from the same area. Shortly after, B-Love ended up doing some time behind bars, later claiming that someone had snitched on him. This made him hate the street politics, wanting to pursue music more so he could leave that behind. But while this was happening, K-Flock was running his ops down in the streets and would even go live on Instagram, showing him in hoods he wasn't supposed to.
Bro, I remember this time, bro, of K-Flock wilding on Instagram Live, bro. This was like, yo, bro, are you forgetting you in New York City, bro? Are you forgetting you in federal indictment city? Like, New York City, bro, you can't be doing it. I ain't gonna lie, you can't be on the Instagram and all of that with the guns and doing this and doing that. You can't do that. You can't do that here in New York, bro. They on your ass immediately.
Being like he was bulletproof.
I make it know when I'm on his side.
Wait, nigga, no, outside.
Came from there, boys down, look, boys still down there. Boys still down there.
Although negative, this attention would actually put his name out there, so his reputation was quickly building. In just a few months, Flocka had made a few hundred fans that would watch his streams where he taunted his enemies. The idea of making music still wasn't on his mind though. The streets had his full attention.
I wasn't really the rapper, I was really the rapper right here.
However, the atmosphere of New York's music scene was quickly changing. Before this, auto-tuned melodic rappers like A Boogie and Lil TJ had been setting the tone. But 2018 saw the rise of Brooklyn drill rappers who began using UK drill beats, giving a whole new sound that quickly took over the city. New drill rappers were popping up all over Brooklyn, while the Bronx was struggling to get anywhere close to that kind of recognition.
Damn, what if it wasn't for the Bronx? If it wasn't for the Bronx, none of this raps probably would be going on. So tell me where you from. Don't do that. Don't do that talking about something, oh, we was struggling, the Bronx was struggling. No, nigga. It happened like that. I ain't gonna lie, Brooklyn had a wave. Brooklyn had a big wave when they had a wave. Relax, though. Person that made this video, I rock with you. But relax, though. Publish X. Shout out to you, though.
In 2019, B-Love came home from his sentence, and upon his return, Dougie B convinced him and K-Flock to start rapping seriously. But things were only getting more complicated in the streets. At this point, their friend PMVJ started repping a new set, and Dougie B and others were upset about that.
What is your reason why you don't like me? Why, bro? You used to stay with me. I used to take care of you, all that. Tell me why you don't like me, bro.
He's a bitch, I don't care about you.
One day, PMVJ was back in Sevside visiting his family when Dougie B and a friend pulled up, allegedly asking PMVJ's mom if he was home. She, unknowing of the beef, told them that he was upstairs if they wanted to hang out. This would ultimately lead up to Dougie B taking the chain off of his neck and recording the entire incident.
See the chain? Yeah, I see the H.
K-Flock, of course, would side with Dougie B.
Wait, so his mom's let them in the house without telling her son that, like, yo, such and such downstairs, I'm about to let him up? Like, his mom's just let him right up? Is that what you saying that happened, Brody? That's crazy if they walked in his own crib at the hands of his mama. They walked in his own crib at the hands of his mama and told him, unhand that chain. Unhand that chain. That's unhinged, bro, if that happened like that. I'm just saying.
And the rest was history. Because of this, though, Dougie B would actually spend some time in jail for the robbery. With Dougie gone, B-Love and K-Flock were still in the streets looking for a way out. But for an undisclosed reason due to being a minor, K-Flock was then also put into a juvenile detention center for a short period of time. With B-Love the only one still holding on to his freedom, he began freestyling over drill beats until K-Flock came home. When Flocka was released, B-Love sat him down and told him he should really give rapping his full attention, and within time he booked a studio session for him where he recorded his first track. On May 26, 2020, K-Flock dropped that song, which was titled FTO, a remix to 22G's Blicky freestyle. The song amassed over 100,000 views due to the hype K-Flock had already been building in the streets, and now everyone wanted to hear him rap. 22G's even ended up giving him props for the remix, a huge success for his first song. 1 month went by and B-Love dropped his first official song as well, No Hook, which also saw about the same success. They now had a platform to grow off of and put the Bronx drill movement on the map. Dropping music at least once a month and collabing on many of them, their names were quickly becoming the talk of the city. They also made sure to shout out Dougie B and Versa.
No cap, I remember this little wave. I ain't even gonna lie. I remember they was being wild consistent. This was like through the pandemic vibes. Like they was being wild consistent.
While he was still locked away. So his past music was also getting recognized and gave him a small buzz for when he got out. But with all the attention they were now getting, it was also putting an even larger target on their backs. Every song became more specific, targeting different ops. But this is also what made it so popular in the first place. They made it a point to help each other stay on track, and no matter what was happening in the streets, they had to keep recording music if they were going to make it out. Dougie B was released around August of 2020, and when he saw the momentum B-Love and K-Flock had built up, he quickly rejoined the mix. This is when things would really start to take off, kind of like a trio, except they all had their own individual careers. In March of 2021, the three of them dropped their song, Brotherly Love. The first month it was out, it got over 1 million views and really put them on the map.
I feel like a famous rapper on college.
People from outside the city were now tuning in, and their fan base grew a lot after this. A big reason the music was catching on was because they didn't just copy the drill sound that Brooklyn was seeing success with, but rather they put their own twist on it, making it an entirely new sound. And although other Bronx rappers were getting views too, it was really these three who took it to that next level. From here forward, their songs were easily gathering millions of views every time. But make no mistake, they were still in the middle of a war. Things between Stepside, the YGs, and OGs was heating up, and the music
Definitely,
was
I remember this time.
fire for all sides. Unlike most gangs that you've heard about in the past, the ones doing the most damage here in the Bronx were actually kids from the ages of 12 to 18.
No cap.
These kids are younger and wilder than anything you could imagine, and they're pulling triggers. During this time, K-Flock was having beef with his own cousin and rapper D-Thing, just because he was repping a different set, and that just shows how serious they took it.
It's no more free Dougie B, but it's gonna be an RIP.
Then there was another situation with rapper E-Dot, who at one point was friends with K as well. After an Instagram live showed E-Dot smoking and chilling with K-Flock's ops.
Yo, some of these niggas' voices be so little, some of these niggas' voices be so young that you be thinking it's a girl on the track. Like, no, it's just a young little nigga on the track that don't got no bass in his voice yet. He ain't fully hit puberty. That's what it is, bro.
Their friendship was over as well.
16 with 2 million views. They never do that before. All my ops, 18, 19, 20, 21. I be for old great. Nah, they not even my ops. I'm smacked. I'm high, y'all. They not my ops. Fans.
At this point, it seemed like everybody had a problem with everybody. But again, every single one of them was benefiting from these beefs. Bronx Drill had everybody tuned in, but at what cost? In July, a 21-year-old rapper named Ty Swish was shot in the head while outside of his apartment complex. 2 days later, a 13-year-old named Jarian was chased down and shot outside of a cafe in Belmont.
Yeah, Joe, it was a shooting that left a 13-year-old dead and parents of teenagers here horrified that someone could do this. The NYPD tonight is asking for anyone with information to help them find the killer.
It's not confirmed, but it's rumored that this was probably retaliation for Ty Swish's death from just a few days before. On July 11th, another 16-year-old rapper named Rod G's was getting into an Uber headed to a studio session.
This was crazy. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. The Rod G's situation was wild, boy. R.I.P. Rod G's, man. That was wild, boy. I ain't even gonna lie. And it's on camera, and it's on film. And, bro, I ain't even gonna lie, bro. Someone was in the back of the Uber, didn't know what was going on. Somebody rode up beside him. Splakata. Wow, bro, that's crazy, man. I ain't gonna lie, that was disgusting, bro. That was, like I said, that joint happened. I don't know if it was on live, but it was recorded for sure.
2 kids on scooters rolled up.
I hate that niggas can't at least die not on camera. Like, can niggas at least do something not on camera? Like, damn.
Behind him and shot him. Raji's had been mocking the death of Jarian on social media just an hour before.
Around 11:30 Sunday night by the corner of East 178th Street and Webster Avenue in the Bronx, police say 2 men pulled scooters up next to a cab Medrano was taking to a recording studio. They then shot him in his head and chest, killing him.
A perpetual cycle of dissing and then death was happening. But while this war was brewing between everyone, K-Flock, Dougie B, and B-Love were on the brink of going mainstream. Something they had been risking their lives for in an attempt to make it out was finally about to pay off. Shortly after, K-Flock dropped his song Being Honest, and he would get his first collab from a mainstream artist when G Herbo gave him a verse. Following suit, Lil TJ and Fabio Foreign
I remember this.
collab with him on the song In the Mood. Now he was getting radio play on Hot 97, and together with B-Love, he walked onto his first major show at Rolling Loud.
That was fire.
B-Love and Dougie B.
Just for the Bronx. I ain't even gonna lie. No matter what side he from, what he doing, whatever he got going on, that was fire for the Bronx. Just like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, this Bronx drill stuff is really taking off. Like,
all signed record deals shortly after, with K-Flock's rumored to have been worth a few $1 million. Now they had the money and freedom they had been working hard for, but it's a double-edged sword. The dissing and gang lifestyle was partially the reason they became so popular, so it's hard to just leave that behind at this point. But with money in his pockets, he was seen enjoying the finer things in life, taking trips to Miami, riding around in a new BMW, and spoiling his little sister and girlfriend with shopping trips. But the money and fame only made him an even larger target for his ops, which means he now had to think twice before doing anything in his home city. And you better believe they were watching his every move. The morning of December 16th, K-Flock woke up and was seen on live, once again taunting his enemies to come find him.
As
He
always.
made sure to let him know he wasn't lacking as he revealed a gun tucked in his belt. Hours later, he was walking down Amsterdam Avenue and 151st Street. A shiesty covered most of his face, but a $1,500 Moncler jacket, unreleased Air Jordans, and a $1,400 pair of Amiri jeans may have still gave his identity away. As he passed by a barbershop, surveillance shows Oscar Hernandez come storming out to confront K-Flock.